Have you ever thought about the aspirational characters and the stories you listen to and the things you engage with? What aspirational character has been the closest to you? Do you strive towards being like that character? Or do you see yourself more in the villains? Have you found yourself fighting against what you feel like is an inevitable dark part of yourself that you cannot escape or rise out of? We are going to discuss all these things today in the childhood classic, The Iron Giant.
Welcome to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, where we explore connections between the movies we love and the stories we live. We are friends and colleagues with backgrounds in storytelling, filmmaking, teaching, and narrative therapy. Join us on our quest to unlock the power of storytelling for your life. I'm Derek Hatch.
My name is Nick Natal.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph Wilson.
I'm Jason Lynn.
All right, guys. So, we are starting this series, but there's something we must say about it. So, I've been doing podcasting since 2017, and the All Things Narrative podcast has existed since 2022. So we've been doing this for almost 3.5 years.
Wow.
And we have all felt for a while that we are reaching the end of something, that this is all building and culminating. And so this series that we're going to do is going to really be kind of a series finale, if you will, where each of us are going to bring films that we feel like culminate in something that our individual films have picked. Some part of ourselves that maybe we feel like we haven't brought up or discussed much, or maybe a realization of everything in light of where we've been on the journey. So that's just my fancy way of saying that we are wrapping this podcast up this month.
We're done.
This is
That's
our
it.
swan song.
Yeah.
This is our final march.
Not to say that we might not never come back and record something
Taking
or do
all the
anything.
episodes off YouTube.
Yep. If you would like to hear the rest of the episodes, we will go ahead and put them out.
Send your email, $9.99 a month.
We're going to put them behind the paywall.
That's a steal.
We can do a box set.
A box set, a book on tape. Oh my,
Very
podcast
good.
on tape. Wow, on
Beyond
CD.
Kindle.
Yeah, right.
Kindle.
Beyond
Audible.
Kindle. Our episodes will still be up, in perpetuity. Thank you. In
You
perpetuity.
almost said poop.
Thanks, phone book.
Helping me with the words. And I'll still have this, so there might, be things that'll pop up on here from time to time. But in terms of what we have doing with the four of us here, we've been filming for a while that we're building towards something. So each of the films that you are going to hear are going to be our last picks for this era of the podcast. And we've got Jason Lynn starting us off with this childhood
my
classic,
government,
The
thanks.
Iron Giant.
These are our Logan movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So Jason, why'd you pick this one?
I had a feeling,
Yeah?
which has been pretty much every movie for a while now. Is just like, I feel like this is right. There was something I think I didn't touch on that I wanted to, and that was this idea of aspirational characters. One of them was about antagonists, right? American Psycho. That was like the pit.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
We did a whole series on villains.
And I think maybe not, but I think all of my movies, everything that I've talked about, just kind of subconsciously converges with Iron Giant as a crossroads.
Yeah.
And that is Superman and Atomo.
Yeah.
Right. But no, this is also deeply rooted in my childhood. I remember watching this at Faith Lutheran. Let's go.
Okay.
That was my pre-K and also my summer camp for
cool.
many years. Like that's where I met my longest known friend Rolando, was when I was 3 years old there, and we're still friends.
Crazy.
Some of the teachers that I met there, like Ms. Z. I came back to see Ms. Z when I was like 25.
That's crazy.
And she saw me when I was literally knee high. And
That's crazy.
I don't know if she remembered, but like, Ms. Z, like you basically raised me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I remember watching this and Phantom Menace, a whole bunch of movies.
1999.
Yes,
what a
dude.
year.
Air Bud, like all those. I watched
Air
so
Bud.
many movies in this place at this big TV where we would all gather around. This was like my first theater experience.
Yeah.
Like as a community, as kids, we were all watching this, going crazy when Darth Maul ignites the second side of his lightsaber. Like this is where I started really watching movies, and I'm I wasn't even thinking about that till right now, but I just felt like Iron Giant was a fitting end. Yes, it is animated, but Nick, I also have a good amount of unanimated
I
films on
know,
my
I
rough
know,
drive,
I
but
know.
Bro,
it's good to be
it's
read
an
about that.
animated.
I just chose the funniest one.
Your-
The funniest line.
We'll get
That's
into
good.
this in a little while, but your podcast journey starts and ends with a self-sacrificing robot.
What?
Yes,
oh
yeah.
my goodness!
Is this the first one?
Oh my
Wall-E.
goodness!
Oh, yeah.
Wall-E.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So what
That's kind of
we're gonna
insane.
do for these 4 episodes that you're about to hear is we're gonna spend the first amount of time analyzing the film as we normally do, and then the second part of the episode we're gonna kind of do some personal reflection. I actually have statistics on all you
That's
guys that I put
crazy.
together
Hey,
based
don't let the
on your
government be
picks.
knowing this stuff, all right? I don't need no more information.
How
on
many
me out there.
anti-government movies do Joe and I have to pick?
A lot.
To get you to.
A lot.
Because
You
we've
guys,
been doing it.
Yeah, now we're on somebody's watch list. This is
Yeah.
great.
there are some interesting
They
things
need to watch
that
me.
we're gonna bring up. Just some things I've noticed over the past few years.
Hey man,
as I've listened to us, and I've been taking little notes on it, all of us, putting the data together, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's some interesting
These guys need
insights here.
therapy.
So
I'm just
we
thinking
all
of,
need
of us need
therapy.
therapy.
We all need it.
It's the point of the podcast, Joe.
I'm just thinking.
This is the
Yeah,
therapy.
you're
This is
realizing
it.
right now.
Yeah,
This is it.
I'm thinking of Dean. Hey man, I'm not one to report people to the authorities.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's go ahead and get into the letterboxed, and let's talk about the Iron Giant.
Letterboxed.
It came from outer space. In the small town of Rockville, Maine, in October 1957, a giant metal machine befriends a 9-year-old boy and ultimately finds its humanity by unselfishly saving people from their own fears and prejudices. Well, yeah, directed by Brad Bird, 1999, 86 minutes.
Is Wally
That's
Brad
good.
Bird?
No, Ratatouille is Brad Bird.
Gotta type.
86
You gotta
minutes.
type.
So,
Yeah, and I remember
that's
in the
what-
first retreat,
that's a sentence.
the first retreat that we did, you had the Brad Bird revelation, I call it.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
we
so
went
what was
on
the
and-
connection again? Help me out.
So-
So it was King of the Hill.
Part of King of the Hill season 1, he was Ratatouille, he was Iron Giant. I think he was on SpongeBob for a little bit too. Just a lot of things. Obviously, his last name is Bird.
Yes.
So there's just a lot of interesting connections. I thought he was around Pixar at the time of Wall-E, so I think he had some credit on Wall-E, but
Mhm.
not much.
Didn't you
Yeah.
have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
No, that's Lord and Miller.
Lord no.
That's
Um,
actually kind of wild because I did pick Iron Giant without thinking that it was directed by Brad Bird.
Oh, interesting.
Those gotta type.
And then- so yeah.
Of course.
What are you guys' thoughts on this movie?
Rewatching it, I forgot like how much was in this movie. I really remember like the first half where he finds a giant, and then like the last half where like they're about to strike the town with a nuclear bomb. But rewatching it, I was like, this is what I'm hoping the new Superman movie is going to give me.
That's what I've been.
It's like more just like a. Jason's about to.
You guys,
Jason's about to go on a side tangent.
you guys might have not remember this, but we talked a long time ago when James Gunn was first announced as Superman, and I said, "Man, you know who I really think should have done Superman? Brad Bird."
Wow.
I think between
they
the
go full circle.
Incredibles, between the Incredibles and Iron Giant,
That's right. He did. do
he's
the
got the
Incredibles.
DNA. He understands the DNA of what Superman is.
Yeah.
We'll see how James Gunn does, but
Mhm.
I
We'll see.
honestly think he would be the slam dunk for me, first choice.
But
Wow.
it was the fact that they really made this robot like human, and it kind of falls like into the trope of like, oh, this big scary creature that's kind of like dumbed down. I'm thinking like not dumbed down, but like more like this hostile creature is more like a pet in a way. Like I'm thinking of the Bumblebee movie, but this does it so like well
Mhm.
where the robot actually feels like a human. And I think those are always great stories when the character that is not human feels the most like human, and just that you can convince me that he has a soul. The homeboy was dreaming,
Yeah.
A very scary dream.
very scary dream, and
Right.
felt remorseful for his actions of almost killing his friend. he is more human than some of the human characters in this movie.
Yeah.
He almost feels like Hogarth's little brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50-foot story little brother.
I was watching it and was wondering why I was watching The Blob.
Bro, I didn't even
It
make
is
that
so-
connection until you said
This
it.
is so much like The Blob.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. I thought it was great. I enjoyed all the characters. I enjoyed Hogarth. I thought his character was adventurous and loving and free. I enjoyed the robot and the story. Everything about it I really liked.
Yeah, for some reason I missed this as a child. I never
Really?
watched
I
it.
wish I said that.
I saw it.
Let me go back. For some reason, I missed this as a child.
Because
that in the
of the row that you were looking at. The blockbuster.
Yeah,
I was so far away.
Nick didn't even go to the kids
Right.
section at Blockbuster.
I did not know there was
There's a
one.
kid
Trade
section.
Tour.
No.
I thought all of the
I'm
sections are
looking at
kid sections.
No, dude. I'm looking at new releases and horror.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wall that had the most tapes because those were the most.
Yeah. This is a movie I'd see scenes on TV. I've seen a lot of the scenes out of context. I mean, this came out in like 99. So like 98, 99 was like the peak Star Wars of my childhood. Like that's when I was really, really into it. And so there was not room for much else, especially since Phantom Menace came out that year as well. And then right after this movie came out is when I started getting into Pokemon. And that took over probably about 2 years of my life where that's all that I consumed was Pokemon.
But one was only 2 years.
Huh?
Only 2 years of your life.
Well, if you count the fact that now I'm roped back into it by my kids, literally playing the games and watching the show and all that, then it continues to have a stronghold.
That's why.
So,
that's why I never leave my strongholds.
So,
oh man!
but I think it's a
Really
really
get back to Wishmaster.
right. I think it's really solid,
Do you
and
want
I think the thing that brings me the greatest joy was that how much my kids were enjoying this movie.
Mhm.
Because I do think that they don't make kids movies
Like this, yeah.
anymore. That was my biggest reaction as I was watching it. Is I'm like, man, like, why can't there be stuff this good? That's for kids and for families.
I was even showing this to my class, and Jason came in when I was showing it to the class.
What did they think of it?
They were not interested whatsoever. And I'm like, besides like a couple, I'm like, you guys don't know good art.
What?
But I was able to actually teach them a little bit of history through it as well.
Oh yeah,
But
it's
it was
like I love the Cold War setting and how it's
Yeah.
incorporated.
Tuck and cover is wild.
And I told them, I was like,
I love that part.
I was like, I even kind of made the connection. I was like, do you guys know how we have to do active shooter training? They had to do active like atomic bomb training. So like what you're seeing and what the kids are watching is what they were actually trying to watch. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. I was like, that's what
the
was
Red
happening.
Scare, Sputnik, like there's
that's
so
a real
much
thing.
fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there was a feel in the opening of this movie that, like, for me personally, was just so foreign to me. I don't know if it was like the way the animation is and just the lighthearted, wholesome, like animation today doesn't have that.
Yeah.
No.
The animation looks different. So everything about this was like, this feels different.
Yeah.
It would make sense that kids are like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's this idea of an aspirational character and like a villain character that the Iron Giant is associated with, and that's in the stories that Hogarth is reading just at his bed, comics and all that stuff, and it's in the shed where this idea gets introduced. He's going through all these things. He's like, Superman. Oh yeah, he's telling the Iron Giant. He's like, oh, he's kind of like you. He came here from outer space. And he didn't really know what to do or what was going on, but he always uses his powers for good, never evil. And then Iron Giant sees the one that looks just like him. And he's like, who's this? And he goes, oh, that's Atomo. He's an evil robot, whatever. He's like,
You though.
And he goes like, yeah, not like you though.
Feels like Mastermind, Megamind.
Yeah, he's like, you're a good guy, like Superman. And I think the most poignant part was he takes the comic and he slaps it right on top of the Atomo one and covers it, and it's gone.
Yeah,
he says, "This is you." And like that's over some like Iron Giant sees
Iron Man.
Yeah, I was trying hard.
Iron Giant plus Superman.
Right? Iron Man. He literally sees almost the spitting image of himself, and Hogarth goes, "This is you right here." I was like,
"Cool,
okay, this is important." And when they're in the junkyard, he's playing games with him, and he has the gun, and he goes, Atomo, and he's just playing make-believe and calling the Iron Giant Atomo, and he's kind of twiddling his thumbs, and he goes, "No, Atomo." And he stands up with the S and he goes, "I, Superman."
Yeah.
And
it's
so
the competing of the stories, right?
Yes.
The narratives.
And so Iron Man is choosing. This is gonna be a struggle.
You know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the Giant is choosing this character, and to before we get fully into it, a lot of the superhero genre that we're seeing now today is kind of, I don't know if subverting is the right word. I don't know. You know all the film
It
terms.
feels like more like a dark take on these characters, or just their darker tones when some of these characters don't need that. And that's what I really liked about this movie, too. It wasn't like, yeah, he was made for war, but it's not like, oh, edgy and like, oh, look at this. Like, these are consequences because of how the film is playing out, besides trying to set it in a tone that it doesn't need to be set in.
Yeah,
Zack Snyder. I know,
whatever. To thank for that.
Whatever. I was thinking about that as well. I was like, make your wishes. This really would be the aftermath of me asking for the
Batman
Snyderverse to be real.
unloading on people. So when I grew up, there was Luke Skywalker, there was the Iron Giant, there's Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. I think was going into that but I still remember the animated series. He is a good character.
He's very the animated series. He's very aspirational.
Even Justice League, the animated series, is a perfect representation of like the DC universe. I think that stand by that is the best one. That's brand name. I stand by that.
Yeah, and that's what I was watching, and I even had the VCR of Eyebrows Batman, Adam West, where it's goofy and it's lighthearted, but there's a clear good. And the good is good, and the bad is bad.
Yeah.
And now we've gotten into like The Boys or
really great.
Invincible, and a lot of other things where it's the hero is corruptible, but it's all like that. It's more cathartic, and some of it is like, okay, struggling to be good, but there's a lot more subverting and just like putting the heroes in a darkness.
This is kind of like, this is a good companion with Megamind as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because Megamind, you've got a more modern story from a villain's perspective, wanting to reform, right? So that's
Megamind,
interesting.
It's very similar, but even watching Megamind feels so much different.
It
than
does.
This. Yeah.
Very
Everything
different
about this animation, and I don't know if it's just the spirit, the way the characters talk and move.
It feels more natural. Like Megamind feels like a sitcom or something like that. More of like, oh, we're doing these jokes. We're being silly and stuff like that. But this is more authentic.
If it means anything in the podcast, my kids liked Iron Giant more than Megamind.
Like the animation is almost like softer in a way. It's not like vibrant and sharp.
Yeah.
It's just like it's almost like a warm blanket.
Yeah.
Like
That's a good way of putting
like
it.
It's very easy, and the Giant is animated in such a cool way. Like it looks awesome, and I remember just that super satisfying sound of when he's walking, and the two big old round eyes. It's a super iconic like feel
it's a cool design.
Yeah. So, but there's this aspirational characters. There's not a lot of new ones.
No.
That are made, and it's almost been rejected. People want to revel in the darkness and the villains and how cool is. Oh, he killed that dude. Oh, he did. Like that is kind of what's triumphed, and I think people are kind of a little tired of it.
Yeah.
Because in the Superman, like what I've been reading and seeing, people want the Brad Bird, or what they hope for James Gunn. They want the aspirational character back.
Yeah,
it's almost
and it's
like,
interesting how all the marketing is trying to show that, like, oh no, like he can bleed. Oh no, he can like stumble. It's interesting because like both Snyder and Gunn are falling into that same.
But I don't.
thing.
I don't think though that the focus is on the bleeding. It's the getting up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they're setting that.
That could be the difference.
I think they're setting it up for him to get back up in a world that has everybody down.
Yeah.
And if this movie is like that, where these characters are like representations of like the heroes that are out now, like with Guy Gardner, and they're under these corporations and not really doing anything but what the corporation is saying, in the sense of like what movies are like with the Marvel movies, with this corporation mindset of let's put all these X-Men into these movies. Let's go ahead and it's like if Superman is showing a better way of actually doing things,
Mhm.
I think this movie would be like it's going to be really perfect.
Well, that's the position that the Iron Giant gets put in, because everyone's turned against him. He's got this programming that he defaults to, but we can choose to be better.
Yeah.
He can choose to be better.
Yes. And
That's what's cool about this movie.
yeah, and an aspirational character, that's the reason that it's helpful, is that it helps us get up.
Yes.
It's almost I kind of visualize it as like this ladder rung, or this just fixed point that I grab, or that you could grab and kind of pull yourself up towards it.
Mhm.
But I wanted to ask you guys, because I asked you like an hour before we got here, what is an aspirational character that was important to you, or that you grew up with, or that just you found even recently? I think I know what yours is.
Yeah,
I'd
what
be
is it?
surprised if you
What is it?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, but it's different. It's
Okay.
different. Like Spider-Man is a character that like I kind of feel like I get to meet on the same level a lot.
Okay.
When I think aspirational, I
Luke?
think who's above me.
Is it
like
Luke?
who's ahead of me? Like Luke Skywalker
Mhm.
is ahead,
Mhm.
like with the things that he's able to accomplish in those films. It's like something like as a child, you look at that and you're like, wow, look at the courage.
Yeah.
Look at the
Mhm.
forgiveness. Look at all the different things.
Yeah.
So it's not that an aspirational character has to be perfect
Yeah.
or has to
Mhm.
always get it right.
But
An
above you.
aspirational figure needs to be something that you're striving towards. Like Christ is the ultimate aspirational
Yeah.
figure that as Christians that we're striving towards, right?
Yeah.
But we have stories with other characters. So I know for me, again, like I mentioned around this time, for me it was Luke. Spider-Man is a character I relate to.
Too.
Okay.
Like I feel like side by side, he takes a step forward, takes a step back. One thing suffers, another thing does great. Very relatable stuff there.
Mhm.
But he's not the only one. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's definitely at this time, when I was a kid,
Mhm.
for sure.
Joe.
I think mine is Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
As I
Yeah.
was thinking about
That
it.
great aspiration.
Which
Yeah.
Optimus Prime?
Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime, and like
Mhm.
I guess the G1 classics. But story, you guys already know I love Transformers.
Go
My
back and check
first-
out that episode.
Yeah, please. My first interaction was in 2007 with the first movie with the Michael Bay stuff.
Mhm.
But when I got deeper into it and like really understood like Optimus is not just this vicious character that'll rip your face off.
Verse is not aspirational.
Yeah, he's not at all. But especially with the Transformer Prime series, this is a seemingly heroic person, but came from such humble beginnings. He was a librarian,
Mhm.
and all he wanted to do was to humbly like speak for the people.
Right.
And because of that, he was chosen with this great responsibility, with this great power, and people look up to him. But he's still an individual that has these doubts and doesn't really like see that he has been worthy, but he will continue to prove that he is, or this choice was the right choice for him.
Yeah.
Which I just think is like great. It's just like when you think of Optimus just like this, the leader of the Autobots,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's just a normal bot.
Mhm.
So I think it would be Optimus Prime for me.
Yeah.
Nick.
So if I was thinking of people that I relate to. So if Derek is like Spider-Man, then I was thinking, at least for right now in my life, it's actually Mad Max and also Logan.
Mm.
So it's those two that I'm kind of pulling strength from,
Yeah.
but it's almost like Logan's aspirational character was Professor X.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if mine can translate the same way. And as you guys were talking, I was thinking about Professor X.
Yeah.
Maybe could be mine.
That's an aspirational figure.
Because I'm
Okay.
connecting to Logan and Max
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
someone that's like kind of living that story right now.
Mhm.
So then if I'm looking up to somebody, then it would be Professor X.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
It's dope.
That's a really, man, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
dope.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome because Professor X, if you go through all those X-Men films or the shows or whatever, comics, he sees someone like Logan and
Yeah.
he's like, you have a place.
Yeah.
You have a place here, right? And then it's kind of like he's discipling him in the
Yeah.
ways of
Yeah,
being
yeah.
a mutant.
Yeah.
And then there's the moment where eventually, as happens in life, where the younger has to take care of the older.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautiful there. That's cool.
Growing up, mine was Spider-Man. And I
Mhm.
think it's interesting because I didn't see so much of the faults.
Mm.
I just saw him like going forward, always saving.
That's
And
interesting.
also just as a kid, like he's just way cooler than me. Like the flips, the tricks.
Sure,
the-
yeah.
Like at the Spider-Man pose, bro,
Yeah.
that was one of the hardest poses of all time as a kid. Like everyone was hitting that pose. It was
That's
just
interesting that you were attracted to that part of the character, and the thing I was attracted to was like, wow, he has girl problems, and wow, he gets picked on. Like that's what drew me to the character, and kind of still does.
Well, what I always saw is that he always saves.
Yes,
Like, no matter what, Spider-Man
Always.
always saves. He always puts someone else first.
yeah,
Like always.
yeah,
And
so
that
good.
don't think that they've since character assassinator gone back on that for Spider-Man because they're doing that for everyone. But like that's what I liked. He was just always able to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
But then there is like a little bit of catharsis in it, like which is the suffering.
Yes,
Right? Like
yes,
he suffers and he's trying to navigate it, and I'm suffering. I'm trying to navigate it. And as I
Yeah.
got older, I saw more of that. And I'm like, okay, I can relate to that too. Like, man, that he's able to do it, but also he can't pay rent.
Yeah.
This guy, yeah, that's something that like, okay, it helps me keep pushing forward.
yeah.
And I didn't ask you this, but don't answer it. But think of it in your head, like who would be your Atomo, like a villain that you're like, this dude is cool. Like, man, that's awesome.
Magneto.
Magneto,
Yeah.
yeah.
Magneto
Yeah.
was always the one that I like more than X. So
Mm-hmm.
it's those two for me.
Cool. Do you have an Atomo?
I'm trying to think of it.
This was a curveball for even me.
Yeah.
So
There, do you have one?
Like, are you just asking like a villain that we thought was cool?
yeah, but also like you related to her, like, man, if I was like that,
Kind of the dark side of the aspirational.
You know,
Yeah.
what?
Megatron.
No, he's not technically a villain, but he's still very chaotic. The Mask. Growing
would
up,
be your Atomo.
yeah, it would,
Oh,
he would be
interesting.
because
Huh.
he's very appealing. That life of being like admired and stuff like that was very appealing, and it's like a
Mhm.
whole different goes with your Two-Face thing or the Harvey Dent thing. It was a whole other thing that I could put on and be more outrageous
Yeah.
than having to be the controlled version of myself. I think that would be my
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. because I really like that came out when I was like middle school. So like I was pretending like, oh, I had the mask and I'm that crazy. Like it was that type of stuff. So I think it would be the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I honestly don't know. I mean, the weird thing is I always in Halloween, I always chose villains to dress up as, not
Yeah.
heroes.
Hell yeah.
So it's like I had
How was the
I-
Burger King one year?
that's awesome. That is a villain right there.
He is.
Burger King sucks. So I had like a very strong drawing to heroes and saw villains for what they were. But on Halloween, I was obsessed with wanting to become the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was Darth Vader one year. I was Freddy Krueger one year. I was Bela Lugosi's Dracula one year.
Okay.
I was, oh my gosh, I was like a dead pirate, like a skull pirate.
Sick.
I was like a lot of random. I don't know if I could necessarily pick just like one villain that I was like, oh man, I really want to be like them. Magneto is definitely like the most relatable villain that I've always been able to just kind of identify and go, man, that guy's got a point.
Yeah.
He's got a point, and he always has had such a cool presence. So yeah, that's interesting. But I guess that's what I'd say there.
Mine is pretty shallow, but like when I was growing up and watching He-Man, I didn't want Skeletor to lose.
Really?
Yeah, I
You
was
didn't
like,
want Skeletor to lose?
No.
You like Skeletor? Hey, I'm
over
not gonna lie.
He-Man, a naked dude with a sword, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Skeletor's cool. I watched I didn't watch like the campy one. I watched the revamped He-Man
dope.
one
Yeah.
where where He-Man gets interrupted in his own intro by the villains
Yep.
attacking, which is super cool, by the way. But yeah, no, there's a few others that I'm like, man, I kind of like the villain. The villain's cooler.
Yeah.
But that's coming up. Like people love the villains, right?
Yep.
And we've talked about that already in American Psycho.
And I was thinking about it as well, like loving the villains, like identifying with the villains,
Yeah.
right? I remember the first time I saw Revenge of the Sith, and I was watching like the whole downfall of Anakin, and I was sitting there going like, I don't think I was proud of this, but I was like, if I was in Anakin's shoes, this probably would have been the route I would have taken.
Have you
also.
seen-
You'd kill
Padme?
children?
No,
Wait,
no,
he paused,
no.
audience. He paused. Wait.
No. Okay.
He thought about it.
He didn't immediately say no. He
Not
thought, look at him.
Okay, maybe not everything.
Not
But
to
the
look at him.
idea of like, I love someone, I want to be
Look
with
at
them,
him.
and I'd rather be with them than be
Than
with
with
all
the
these old Jedi guys. Like, I easily would have chosen Padme over that,
Water.
right? So, yeah.
Order 6.
Anyways, keep going, Jason.
No. So that's what I like is that this is being struggled over because the Iron Giant was built to be a weapon.
Yeah.
Was built to conquer. Like the
To
whole
be a
dream
gun.
sequence is to be a
Mhm.
gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like physically, yeah, he is a gun.
Yeah.
That's like you see him conquering that one Martian planet or whatever.
Yeah.
Super sick dream sequence. But he has this innate weaponized side of him that is self-defensive and reactive.
Yeah.
Right? Hogarth pulls the gun on him and it reacts. Every time he sees a weapon, it kind of triggers that in him.
Mm-hmm.
But
To be honest, that reminds me of Goku when he first came onto Earth because his origin is that he's technically part of a civilization that conquers planets. And they
yeah,
turn into
Saiyans
giant
are not
monkeys.
good.
Yeah, they're not good at all. But because he got a bump on his head when he landed on
Whoa,
Earth,
wait.
he was actually able to be tamer. But his other side, his beast side, would still come out like during a
Right.
full moon, and it ended up killing his grandpa. So that's actually kind of dope. Like,
Yeah.
it has that type of
Iron Giant has a concussion bump on his head.
on his head. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah.
So and he's fighting it the whole time. And he's like, I'm Superman. Like this is who I am. And he's putting that on across his chest.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because Superman, and I don't know about you guys, he wasn't really I didn't really care about Superman.
Yeah, he wasn't one of my.
I
people.
thought it was
Perfect.
cool. I liked him, but he wasn't my favorite.
His
Yeah.
power sets were cool to me, but it's like I wasn't really paying
Yeah.
attention to him.
Yeah, to me it was too powerful. He can't be
Mhm.
hurt. He can't suffer. It's like there's nothing
Yeah,
to attach to with that. And
Yeah.
that's why Spider-Man and like he's more
Yeah.
grounded of an aspirational
Right.
character to me. What is it? The S on his chest is the symbol for hope in his
Yeah.
people. And so to me, Superman is the epitome of an aspirational character in our culture. Like
Mhm.
it's like if you don't like him or not, it's Superman. Like Superman is that. And there's evidence because we have all these parodies, all these spin-offs like Megamind,
Mhm.
Invincible,
Mhm.
Homelander. Like there's so many that are patterned after him.
right.
And the Sentry, like there's a whole ton. And the Iron Giant is representing that childlike, like wanting to be like a hero, wanting
Yeah.
to be like someone else. So that's hope.
Yeah,
Hope
Mhm.
is the aspiration forward and up. And he wears it across his heart. But when he has the incident in the yard where he almost shoots Hogarth and the guy is accusing him, like, hey,
Yeah.
you almost killed him. You're this. And he goes, I not gun.
Yeah,
And
that was
and he walks away. There's this shot where he's sad, he's looking down, and he's left his hope behind on the snow,
yeah.
Mhm.
and he walks away from it. And he's being accused. Now there's an accuser in this movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There's a Satan
Shooter
character.
McGavin.
Yeah, very strong.
Shooter
accuser.
There
McGavin.
is a Satan in this movie, and that is Kent Mansley.
How you
Work
doing?
for the government.
Yeah, I was. You're gonna say that again. No, I wasn't.
Or was it? Hey, do you have a? So, anyways, there's a fear going on in America, right?
Mhm.
The atomic age
Mhm.
and all that implies.
Yeah.
So there is this fear, this what is someone else doing? Who built it? I don't care. We have to destroy it before it destroys us.
I just know we didn't make it, so that means it's an enemy
Mhm.
towards us. And I'm like, dang,
Mhm.
that's crazy.
So that is the inherent nature of the world, and that is Satan the accuser. And he is only looking to snuff out any sort of danger. That is this shoot at it, kill it. It's all these things are warped, right?
Mhm.
All he can see is getting rid of this thing to the point where it puts the whole town in danger of being destroyed.
Yes.
So this fear, this accusatory, this violent, proactive self-defense is inherently like that's the inherent nature of mankind.
And it's not even for actual people. It's for his own selfish intentions.
Yes.
He just wants to be
Screw our
recognized.
country. I want to live.
Yeah.
And that is the same as what the Iron Giant has. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. His is just way more scary and huge, but he has nothing different inside of him that any of the other humans have.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. And the other characters in the movie are like, oh, what if it's from this or what if it's from that? We need to destroy it. Like the little kids are saying that when
Yeah.
they're watching this movie. And I thought that was really unique. And it's this battle of the inherent sin nature and the violence versus choosing to rise above that. And there's the hope in that.
You know, Jason, you really made me think of something.
Okay.
The aspirational character takes the hope on the horizon and they incarnate it.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about hope on the horizon endings, that thing that we're moving towards, but it seems like the aspirational character is able to go to the end and see what's there, take that hope and to make it tangible, right? Like, Christ takes the kingdom of God and gives it flesh, gives it a face, gives it things that we can touch and interact with. And that's kind of like what I see aspirational characters doing is they see a greater vision. They see a kingdom of God on the horizon and they take that within their being and they say the kingdom of God is near and the kingdom of God is within you.
Yeah.
Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
The aspiration, that's what Jesus says, is that the aspirational, you can find it.
Yeah.
You can find it within. So it's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's their job, is to call that forth.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that's really what I'm getting to is the Superman ultimately is Jesus. Right. And so the Iron Giant, he's terrified. He himself is terrified of his own sin nature.
Yeah.
His own Atomo. And he wants to be like Superman, but he's innately destructive and terrifying, and violence and threats from outside bring it out of him. And the thought that he could be like Superman gives him hope. And like I was saying, he rejects being Atomo. And yeah, I'm mostly backtracking because now I'm actually reading my notes, but that's what I want to get is aspirational characters represent our best obtainable potential.
Yeah.
That's good.
But the thing is, when we feel like we cannot obtain it, we drop the S in the snow. So when he is accused, said, that's what you are, and he no longer feels like he can be Superman, he leaves it behind.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the important part, is we have to keep up the hope that we can rise up to be like that, not that they're just this pie in the sky. We'll never get it.
Right.
And that is when we become dejected and we lose the hope.
Yeah.
But of course he comes back at the end and he says, I am not a gun.
Yeah.
And so this aspiration, this push forward, it leads to like an ultimate end. So of course Mansley, he only sees the sin and he wants the robot dead just because of its potential to kill. He only sees the potential for death.
Yeah.
It's the accuser, but also
it's the one narrative too.
Yeah.
It's the you are the problem.
Yeah.
That's all you are.
And it can
Can't
also
see another narrative.
I'm a little like half and half on it, but it also could be like the law. He's broken this. He's a danger. Has to be done away. That's gone. Right? There's no forgiveness. There's no
grace.
understanding. There's no grace, no mercy. There's only fear and violence. But the path that the Iron Giant is walking, it leads to ultimately one thing, and that's death. So at the end, the bomb is coming, and he says, "I fix," and he goes up and he takes on and he dies.
Takes it on, yeah.
Yeah, he takes on the
most potential destruction that humanity has ever made.
Yeah.
Onto himself.
Yeah. And he sacrifices himself for everybody else. He becomes like Christ.
Yeah.
He becomes Superman at the end. But what happens?
He comes resurrected.
He becomes Iron Giant.
Did I say Iron Man?
No, you said Superman in Christ, but he also becomes himself.
Yes, yes. So, and he becomes what he chose to be. So it's a choice. You can choose to stay in the Atomo, in the who you are. Oh, I was born this way. Like, I'm just going to hell. That's it.
Yeah.
No, you chose that.
Yeah.
So there's a freedom in the choice that you can, and there's a hope, but there's also responsibility.
Yeah.
Work has to be done, but at the end, he chose to do it, and there is a resurrection. There's a rebirth.
Yep.
So death has to come, but also a newness.
Yeah.
So Atomo dies.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's ultimately what I wanted to get to, was just it's very simple, and in fact watching this movie, I almost wish it was a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like 86 minutes is not very long.
I think the
they could have gotten
ending
deeper into it.
was kind of rushed, like the immediate attack, and then like, oh, well, we need to go straight to nuclear then because of this thing. But I think it gets to the point. You know, we pretty much get it. We don't need a long, drawn out like fight sequence. We don't need a whole lot of more dialogue about this stuff. We get what the story is saying, and
yeah, I think I agree. I think it works.
Yeah,
it just works.
I watched some of the deleted scenes, and there was a scene. I think if they put anything in, it would be the scene where he's with his mom, and they're talking about how they miss his dad. His dad.
I do think I would have liked a lot more interactions between the mom and the son. I think that would have been
not much.
Yeah,
So,
I think that would have been the only thing.
Yeah, those are the pieces I feel like are missing. There's just touches here that they could be deepened. His dad died in the war. You see the little picture of him getting in the plane. I did like Dean.
I was gonna say
Dean is my favorite
yeah.
character.
He's cool.
He's cool.
He said, "Hey, you're right in the middle." Of the,
That's been
all right.
all right.
I finally get that joke.
Yeah. That's what we've been saying at work all the time. When the others just drenched in the whole lake. Joe, I'm just looking up like, Joe, you got it. Yeah. No, but you got
All right. Yeah, man. I think watching that part, because I was like, where is that going to fit into the movie? And then the whole title way, I'm like, I love this.
That's enough fun for
In a
one
day.
day. Joe says
relate-
after all his kids
I'll
glue
say,
everything to the walls.
I relate to Dean a whole lot now. Like why'd you bring this giant monster into my classroom?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What you currently have in your mouth is art.
Art. Actually, that's not that bad.
Yeah, no, Dean is very level-headed for what he was put through. But Derek, do you have any context on the beatnik culture? I know only a little bit.
This takes place in the 50s, right? So
Sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure 56, 57 they said. So this is like when the beatnik culture is actually starting to really come out. It's a little in the background right now. In the next couple years, it starts to come out a bit more. You have Jack Kerouac that writes the beatnik on the road. What is that? On the road again? Is that the book he wrote?
Again.
I don't remember the name of the book, but he writes the book that becomes like a bestseller and all that stuff. So yeah,
because Manley even calls him that, but it's like a rejection of societal norms and authority.
Yeah, it's like a precursor to the hippies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like more
To the
smooth
hippies.
jazzy.
Yeah, but more in the art, you know.
hippies.
So
I don't know if
All
I'm a junk man that sells art or an artist that sells junk.
that was a good line.
But yeah, that's really. I don't have any more thoughts of it until we get to the other part.
You ready to start talking about you?
Guts. It's how
Yes.
Derek is immediately like,
I know.
all right.
I'm trying to do
right.
the transition. Is there any other things to say about this movie specifically before we get the other part?
Did you identify with the giant or Hogarth more?
Ooh, good question.
I don't think I even identified with any of them. I was just watching. But
now that it's asked,
who do you identify with?
I don't know. Maybe more the giant, or maybe even Dean. Like Dean, I'm like the encourager now. Like I'm helping someone else figure it out. It's interesting. I guess I was kind of focused on Dean a little bit, but the Iron Giant and just his newness to life. He's a baby.
Yeah.
He's learning to even talk, and he's easily hurt, and he's sensitive, and I just felt for him quite a bit. Hogarth is just silly and kind of making some dumb decisions. He's smart in his class, but like as soon as the government agent leaves, he's like, "Let's play this super loud, destructive game."
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, let's displace 2/3 of the water in the lake nearby. Dude, you gotta be kidding me.
He's a kid. He's like,
Bro, if
I
I
have
got
a giant robot, I'm the coolest kid in America now.
in America, yeah, like some prick in Russia's got their own robot. Brazil.
Hey, they may have dropped a lot of these things in different countries.
One
Who
for
knows?
each, right?
Yeah.
But no, dude, if I got washed up to the point where I'm hanging onto a tree, that's gonna nothing in my life is ever gonna top that.
Yeah.
It's just holding onto the top of a tree, but yeah, no, that was a good question. Yeah, I think theme, but a little bit more of the giant. But when you're talking about Hogarth, I'm like, okay, like I see a little bit of myself in him too.
Yeah.
The trifecta you got.
Yeah. Good stuff. We'll get right back to the podcast in just a moment. But first, this podcast is dedicated to unlocking the power of storytelling for your life. And if you've ever wondered what that looks like for you, then I've got something exciting to share. I had the opportunity to write a chapter for the just released book, The Unleashed Entrepreneur. It's a collection of stories, wisdom, and insights from entrepreneurs all over the country. And in my chapter, I share the power of storytelling and what that's meant for my life. And as people read my story, my hope is that they will begin to think of their lives as a story and what the power of storytelling looks like for them and how they want to communicate their story and live their story in the most meaningful way possible. And so if that sounds interesting to you, then check out the link in the bio. The book is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. You can get the ebook version. You can get a paperback version. And additionally, if you want to immerse yourself more in the world of storytelling, then check out allthingsnarrative.com. Sign up for our email list to get 5 tips for improving your storytelling. And we will stay in touch and let you know about upcoming events, workshops, coaching, and other things that we've got going on that you might be interested in. So check out allthingsnarrative.com. Check out The Unleashed Entrepreneur with the chapter on the power of storytelling. And without further ado, let's get back to the conversation. So Jason,
Oh dear.
so I've got this for each one of us.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we're
ready
all
too.
we're all gonna have this.
Yeah, our
we're
time's
we're
coming
all gonna have this
Jason, you're
moment.
just
All right.
first.
Yeah, dude.
It's a beautiful thing though. So
I am the
Jason,
scout.
so Jason's
Oh, the
movies.
scout.
All the movies you've picked for the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, plus a couple that you picked for our Why We Love series back when it was the All Things Narrative podcast. We have Wall-E, Howl's Moving Castle, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, No Country for Old Men, American Psycho, They Live, Ratatouille, Megamind, Lake Placid, The Iron Giant, Tombstone, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Wow, I really do only pick good movies.
Great reaction.
Lake Placid got the only reaction, and it's a good, warm reaction.
Yeah.
So, the following stats I'm about to share are in related to these movies that I share here.
It's like Jim Henson.
So-
Why don't you take a seat?
Take a
Yeah,
seat.
this is what it feels like.
Our transcripts that we've had.
Subpoenaed over here.
So, first some superficial ones, and then we'll get
Expose.
deeper. We'll get deeper as we
It's an
go.
expose.
The earliest film that you picked, the oldest film that you picked was from 1956.
Invasion of the
That was
Body Snatchers.
Invasion, yep.
What's
The
newest
most
one I picked?
recent movie you picked is 2008.
Wow.
Haven't had a good
You
movie
are
since
old
2008.
soul.
Once New Country hit,
Yeah.
game over.
No,
for the rest
No Country 2007,
It was
Wall-E
downhill.
2008, and that's when cinema peaked for Jason.
of blackness after
Yeah.
2008.
So cinema starts for Jason 1956.
That's
And
crazy.
it is.
2008.
Once
no-
Anton Chigurh steps on the scene, there's no more cinema.
When did Shrek
He walks
come
away
out?
with his broken arm, and that's it.
Wait, when did Shrek come out?
2004.
Okay,
no,
that-
2000 for the first one.
2001. I was going to say
I was
2001
saying,
first.
so it falls into your to your timeline.
I think I
Yeah,
have
it
two
falls
Shrek
into your
movies.
timeline.
Shrek is a huge...
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. 2010 is yours. Megamind. Megamind's 2010.
That
No
movie-
Country
Alright.
was funnier.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, so Megamind is 2010.
Shrek,
But-
Shrek is a huge cornerstone in cinema, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I'm
stand
surprised
on
that's
that.
never come.
I'm
up.
surprised you've never
Yeah.
picked it,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
I've got it. We could play it on the retreat.
I would watch it.
All right. So here's another interesting thing. Out of the 12 movies that you've had on this podcast, 4 of them come from the 2000s. So the 2000s
Really?
is your most popular decade. You've got Wall-E,
Oh, wow. That's
Wall-E, Howl's Moving Castle, No Country for Old Men, and Ratatouille. And it's also worth noting that Iron Giant is 1999 right there,
Yeah.
and Megamind is 2010. So you also have 2 movies right on the border. So
Mm.
half your movies come from the same era,
Mm.
which is really fascinating. I was trying to find frequent patterns in directors, cast members, anything like that. The only thing I could find is obviously that you picked Brad Bird a couple times, but
Bird.
nothing else really stood out to me besides that. You do have 2 movies that have Christian Bale in them, though. You've got Howl's and American Psycho. So take that for what
He's
you will.
pretty good.
So here's the really fast. We're going to start to get more
I don't really
interesting.
care about directors too much.
Jason has 2 kinds of movies, according to this list.
That's crazy. Did AI do
Nick,
this?
do you want to
Did
say what
AI
they
do
are?
this?
No, it's all you.
There are 2 kinds of movies, Jason. Very wholesome, sweet family, animated family films, and super hard R, intense adult films. There is no in
Yeah,
between,
no in between.
here.
And that sounds just like
And,
Jason.
and
too.
take a look at this. So let me get rid of these 2. Let me get rid of Tombstone and and Invasion, right? So look at these 10 right here, okay? You picked 2 animated, then you picked 4 intense rated R films, then you go back to 2 animated, and then you pick 1 rated R and 1 animated to finish it out.
It's
literally a pattern.
Lake Placid was soft.
but
It is a
that's-
rated R
that's
movie,
still a
though.
rated
It
R
doesn't
movie.
matter. It doesn't matter. You pick these intense rated R movies or these very wholesome animated films.
It's when my eyes close and get red and the turrets come out.
There's no in between, which is interesting. Do you have thoughts on that?
Don't look at my music playlist because it's the same.
What would the in between even look like?
I don't know.
I don't think there would be.
Is there?
No, there is. There is. It's these extreme poles, but
Mhm.
part of the thing that I've been learning and discussing is non-dualistic thinking. So the black and white is just boom and boom on
Yeah.
either end.
I feel like middle ground is Lake Placid for me. Closer, anyways.
I would incline to agree.
So
Yeah.
then what does that mean then, or defined? Like, because Lake Placid is still technically like a horror movie, but I guess it's light comedy to where it's still like,
There is a lightness in its darkness.
Yeah.
in
it's,
Lake Placid.
it's warm. Like the characters,
Yes,
they're almost like familial at the end.
And
Yeah.
and what's interesting is I picked that one. Like I was pushing that
You've
one. the
all-
whole-
That is
yeah.
interesting.
without any thought of this. I was
Mhm.
just like, this is the one,
yeah.
and it's
Your
maybe,
argument
and
was-
it's maybe the bridge between.
That's
your catalog.
fascinating.
mm,
Yeah, no, it's funny because I said this the last time. Nick's argument was just the title in all caps.
Yeah.
Five
multiple times. Yeah,
I didn't, I
Lake
did not-
Placid.
I didn't defend or persuade at all. I just kept
Mhm.
texting Lake Placid.
And I was gonna pick Tucker and Dale, and I felt like,
Which would have been your usual pattern.
mm.
and it's like I almost felt like, oh, it's like I have to pick a gruesome, and I'm like, that's not really me though. And I went to Nick about this, but I almost just figured it out in front of Nick through text.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
like, that's why I feel like I'm supposed to, but when I think about it, there's nothing in Tucker and Dale that like is past surface level, and I'm like,
Mhm.
like because this was I had figured out after I had watched Lake Placid, and I was like, there's something warm about this, and
Mhm.
also closer to home that I want. So I feel
Yeah.
like this is the joint. Like there's horrific stuff going on,
Yeah.
and like I've had like my own horrific darkness stuff inside and just
Right.
outside, but like I have you guys. Like
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
this family that I have. There's this like I am ultimately going upward, and I'm looking.
Almost
for
sounds
that.
like this is the middle ground. This
Iron
is the bridge
Iron
between
Giant.
those things.
Not in what it is,
No,
but
us.
what it
No,
shows.
I'm talking about us,
this.
the podcast.
Yeah. Like I have Nick in all the horror movies that I don't
And
pick.
all of them.
Whoa,
Like,
whoa,
and
whoa.
all of them.
My filmography is diverse. So-
But Nick has very warm movies.
Yes.
He does.
and it's the warmth that he actually focuses on.
Mm-hmm.
Like Past Lives is a very
Yeah.
very warm movie. It's hard,
Mhm.
but
we're gonna bring that up probably
Yeah.
in a couple minutes. So
yeah. Oh no.
So let's keep going here. So genres, we got 11 genres, and this is how your films filter into genres.
Is that
You
diverse? Or?
picked 0 action films. Not a
Really?
single one. Nope.
that is, dude, that's interesting.
That is.
and I'm
I really-
landing on an action film, and I know where I am in life right now. I cannot be passive.
Mhm.
I have
Mm.
to be assertive.
Yeah.
And that's
Huh.
what I'm landing
Not
on.
a. si-
I
yep.
think mine.
So no
technically
action.
Mine is an action movie too. Book of Eli. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm classified. That's classified.
No,
as
I'm
that.
classified you already too.
I actually know why. I generally think that action movies are like there's not much in them.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes they're just
You
kind
and
of,
me are very similar.
There is
with
an
that.
action
true.
movie that I really
I know it's
like.
not true,
Yeah.
but that's where our minds go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Um,
there is one that I really like that I don't talk to you guys about.
Mhm.
But we watched it in 516 Midway. Midway might be my favorite action film.
Mm.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it either.
It's after Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
the fight that goes into the Pacific.
Oh,
Theater.
interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's super good.
I'll watch it.
So you picked 1 crime film, which is No Country for Old Men.
Mhm.
You picked 2 fantasy films, Howl's Moving Castle and Ratatouille. Horror, you picked 3 horror films.
Come on now.
Yeah.
You've got American Psycho, which I would also classify with satire as well. Lake Placid and Invasion. You picked 0 romances.
What?
But you
Folly.
picked
That's a little.
I would.
Yes. Yes.
Wall-E has a romance in it, but it's
Thank you.
not a romance.
No, stop.
It is hard.
It is a romance.
It has a romance in it, but the romance is not the center of the movie.
That's his whole drive.
But that's not the movie's drive. That's not what the movie's about. The movie is not about Will Wall-E. It's not. It's not about will Wall-E and Eva be a couple and be together. That's not what the Wall-E is about. It's not. It's can humanity be liberated? Can Wall-E
That's the
liberate
romance.
us?
That's the romance.
That the romance is a piece of the puzzle, but I
No,
don't think
that is the whole altogether romance.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it is.
I think what you're thinking of is the Fifth Element, but I don't think anybody's seen that.
I've seen the Fifth Element
because that romance is the liberation.
Yeah,
but I don't think Wall-E is going that far.
Even Wall-E getting together does not bring humanity out of that pit of despair. They had to choose to not just be complete.
And it's not even like a romance. They're almost more partners. It's not even like a
love
like a
itself.
husband wife. Like because I think like a husband wife. Like I think like we are committed to each other. No, I don't think of that with Wall-E and Eva. I think, but a romance movie is like we are moving towards a marriage. We're moving towards like so, and I just don't think
romance movies today.
No, well. That's why I don't think there are many good ones. No pure satires, but you do have satire in other areas. Mm-hmm. Science fiction, you've got 3. You've got Wall-E. That's where I would put it. They Live, which is also with satire. I think it's combined with it. And Iron Giant is science fiction. You've got one slice of life drama.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Did you say that one?
Yeah, I put that under horror.
But
I could put it under sci-fi. Yeah, it goes
Mm-hmm.
both. Slice of life drama, you've got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You've got one superhero with Megamind. You've got no war films. And you've got one Western. We all have one Western by default because we did that episode, which is Tombstone.
Tombstone's good. I want to watch it again. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
Yep. So Letterboxd themes. So Letterboxd has themes for movies. They're not very good, but they are interesting because they're patterns. Their themes are more like patterns. So you chose 6 movies, the most common patterns.
What's your pattern?
In your Letterboxd. You chose 6 movies that center around non-human creatures. Monsters, aliens, robots, animals, whatever. Wall-E, They Live, Lake Placid, Iron Giant, Invasion, and Ratatouille.
Okay.
So half of your movies don't center around human beings. They center around creatures.
Interesting.
Or robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creatures, robots, monsters, aliens. It's all.
You gotta say whatever again.
Non-human entity.
Non-humanity.
For half the movies.
But something you have to search for outside of humanity. I think
but
that's cool.
But here's the other thing. You also have 6 movies, humanity's connection with the world around it, which are Wall-E, House, No Country, They Live, One Flew, and Ratatouille. You have 6 centered around non-human things, but also 6 about humanity's connection with the world.
Okay.
What? Any thoughts on that?
Boom.
Keep going.
Boom.
Yeah.
Either end of the polls, baby.
You have 4 movies that are classified with patterns of intense violence and sexual transgression.
Whoa.
That is the Letterboxd, not me. That is One Flew, No Country, American Psycho, and Tombstone.
Sexual transgression in No Country?
I think it because they're both one category.
What's the category?
It's the category on Letterboxd is literally intense violence and sexual transgression.
So they're just equating.
They're just
sex and
equating.
violence.
Yes. Yes.
American Psycho definitely is that.
Yeah.
Crude humor. You have 4 movies that are classified with crude humor. Ratatouille, American Psycho, Megamind, and Lake Placid.
That's so funny that those 4 together.
They all considered.
In a hot tub.
Let's get really personal with it now. So I asked you. I texted you a question last week. What do the following characters all have in common? Riddle me this. Wall-E, the captain from Wall-E, Sophie from House, the patients in One Flew, Patrick Bateman, John Nada from They Live, Linguini from Ratatouille, Megamind, Sheriff Hank from Lake Placid, and the Iron Giant.
And before you answer, all mine are true for my protagonist. So
what do you mean all yours are true?
I have a thread that is true for me.
I think there's a thread for all of us.
So
don't take it too weird.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, mine's true for me.
They all have names.
Your podcast journey ends right here.
Yeah. It's over.
I'm getting shot in front of the mic.
Because we've
Now,
executed
you did start
Like the
texting
network.
something,
I
though.
did,
What
I
was it
did.
that you started?
So at first I said they're all seeking. And I
Okay.
said they're all exploring. I feel like they're all searching for who they are or what their role is or
okay,
the
yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
Where are they when we first meet all these people? How would you classify their state?
Autopilot.
Couldn't have
Yeah.
said it better myself.
Yup.
Yeah.
They are all on autopilot.
Yeah.
They
all
are
just,
stuck
they're all
on
just going.
autopilot.
Sheriff Hank's just doing what the old timers did. That's funny you put him in there. Just doing his job. Captain's on the course. Sophie is
Working in the hat shop.
Oh, I
like,
thought this
just-
was After Sun Sophie.
No.
I just
No.
didn't
How's
question it.
Moving Castle, Sophie?
Just in the hat. Okay, well, okay. Just
okay,
yep,
you see it,
just-
right?
Yep.
You see that. Okay, so they're all stuck
Yep.
on autopilot.
This is so crazy.
Yes.
Yo, everybody that's listening, this is so crazy because we all got it. This is a 3.5 year journey, and we
Mhm.
did this for a reason. And
Yeah.
right now, please be listening.
Okay.
Or else.
So you got that, right? They're stuck, and you said they're seeking, exploring, right?
Mhm.
Okay, now let me ask you another question that I did not text
they're
you yet.
brought out of it.
By who? Go through each one of them.
Wally is brought out of it by Eve,
Uh-huh.
but he brings everyone
Uh-huh.
else out.
And Wally then is empowered to bring the captain out. You
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Who brings Sophie out?
How?
Who brings the patients out? One flew.
Yup.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's crazy.
Keep going.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy, dog, actually. You gotta say it. Keep going.
Nate, did you find a place yet?
Come on, dude.
Who brings him out?
Jack.
Randall McMurphy, right?
Randall McMurphy. I think
Okay,
his name is Jack.
this
Hold on,
is an
wait,
interesting-
let's keep going.
Okay.
Ooh, no one brings Patrick Bateman out.
Ah,
Yeah, that's exactly.
No one does.
Exactly.
And that's why
That's
he's
right,
in that
the
state.
dark
Yeah.
side.
Patrick, your villain is the guy who is stuck in that state and no
Yeah,
one brings him
brings him
out.
out.
That's who your villain is in
Yeah.
your story.
Whoa.
Okay, hang on. That's pretty dope.
Hold on, let's
Okay,
let's
keep
keep
going.
Let's
keep going.
'cause I'm
John
seeing something.
Nada.
John Nada. The church.
Yeah,
And
the
the
church.
glasses.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's right. Gives him the glasses.
Mhm.
Oh.
Linguini.
That was a politics one. Oh.
Linguini. Who brings him out?
The cook.
Who's the cook?
rat.
Ratatouille.
No,
Thank you.
no, but
Well-
the cook. Okay.
Oh, the woman?
No,
The girl?
I'm saying the cook. Literally.
cook.
Oh, just the okay. Megamind.
Oh, Roxanne Ritchie.
Mm-hmm. Roxanne. Who brings the sheriff out?
I mean, you could say the museum girl, or I don't know if Howard Harold. What was the name?
You're the name person. I don't know why you're looking at me.
I think that's true. I think it's the people, but it's also a big alligator that brings him out.
Can you revert that? We're not cussing on mine.
I'll cut that.
That was
out.
so good.
Yeah.
Big friggin' alligator.
But that
yeah.
is what brings him out is an
That's
alligator.
so cool. An alligator. That's
Uh-huh.
very personal.
Nature. That's what I'm
Nature
emphasizing
brings him
there.
out.
Nature pulls him out of that.
Nature
Sick.
pulls him out.
And finally,
was
the
funny,
Iron
though.
Giant.
The Iron Giant.
There's two.
Hogarth.
There's two. Hogarth and who else?
Dean.
No.
no.
Who have we been talking about all this podcast?
Oh, Superman. duh.
Superman.
Wow.
Thank you. The Aspiration.
Mhm.
Just kick me out now. Yeah, Superman
Right.
and Hogarth.
Okay.
A child and Jesus.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there are three words.
Oh, I love life.
I
right now.
when I texted you guys and said I think Jason, you pick the same movie every time. There is a pattern. There is a cyclical pattern in every movie that you have picked, Jason. You have a type, okay? So any ladies listening, this is
Spending
his
my-
type.
I've been spending my whole life telling people I don't have
This
a
is
type.
every. You guys ready for this? Now that we've gotten it out, this is every movie you've picked, Jason. Confinement, exploration, liberation. That's the pattern in all of them.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freedom.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all that?
You're out here, Aaron Yeager being out there wanting to have freedom,
Don't
Jason.
compare me with him. Aaron does not let anyone else have any freedom. If you want to be like Aaron Yeager, you are just a Tomo, and
You need to go to jail.
read a Superman comic book.
That part.
What are my thoughts? I'm putting my hand up, open palm, because my thoughts aren't coming out.
So when you, as you're hearing
That
this,
is really cool,
what
but
do
I
you
kind
think
of
this is going to
have-
lead you to? Like,
Well, hold on. Let's
okay.
yeah, let's keep.
I
digging.
mean, like, I feel like internally I've seen the pattern, but like I haven't vocalized it or really expressed it. But part of it makes me feel like, am I a broken record and just like I can't explore outside of this? Am I stuck? Or is that just what my strength is and what like my gift of showing people and like, so I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's just makes sense. That's who I am through what I picked. But it's been also pretty fascinating because a lot of these that you guys can attest, I've never seen them before when I picked them.
Yeah.
But there was something in you
Yeah,
that was drawn to it.
I knew kind of the premise, and I was drawn to the premise of each one.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, before we started this, did you have this kind of awareness?
I would think no.
So I think
Not as much, at least. I like an inkling, but this has grown it substantially.
The broken record part's really interesting because that's a real feeling and thought, but it takes a long time to reach self-awareness and healing. And it took 3.5 years, the disciples walk with Jesus, and this podcast is ending in 3.5 years. So it took 12 movies in 3.5 years to kind of step into this. And it's the same for me.
I think it's gonna be the same for all of us.
Derek,
Yeah.
That it's slow healing and it's slow coming to understand who we are and who God is.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the broken record, it's the
process.
Yes, the process of maturity.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, that's my initial thoughts, but
because they all serve as different pieces as the puzzle, right? We need these pieces.
Yeah.
So
and it was like, I think after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that was like my turning point of, okay, like, because before I was like, I don't know how.
You were here, but you weren't here.
Yeah. I was like, I'm kind of the odd man out here. I don't have a lot of experience. I can't get up to the level that everyone else is at.
Like thinking about like what is my place, like even in this podcast or
like should I be in this?
Yeah,
I don't even know if this podcast is helpful. Is it pointing us away from truth? Is it like misleading? Like what's film's purpose in my is it important? And then it was in the episode of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest where I was like, oh, I have a place in this, and it's an important one.
Yeah.
And I want to go further. And this is important. This is good. Now what? And then I started kind of being a little more self-aware. Like, okay, what else do I want? Like, what do I actually want to say? What do I feel is important? And I picked American Psycho because that was a part of me that was like, okay, this hasn't been really shown to them. This isn't what, like, let's do this. There's something important here, I think, within this. And then They Live and like Megamind and all. I feel like they get more personal afterwards because I don't know the movies between Wall-E and One Flew. I can't remember so much. Howl's Moving Castle, I barely acknowledge as my pick. I'm like, this might be cool.
But even, go ahead, Nick.
So just to touch on that personally, the fact that you were distancing yourself from that made me think about how I was distancing myself from one of my films, and that's the film that made me realize the thread that goes through my whole thing.
What was yours?
Well, I don't know if we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I don't want to say it yet. But me and Derek mentioned that, like you were like, Hal's not really mine. And then I was thinking one day, I was in the shower and I was like, I'm doing the same to this movie right here. And then boom, it all came together for me personally.
Because I'm saying like how I picked it without much internal like connection. I was like, that would be cool. Yeah, let's do that. I haven't seen that.
But
there wasn't like
I think you're right though. Your heart really starts taking over the later it goes.
There's intention and there's action after One Flew. There's I want to do this, I want to do that. It becomes personal. It becomes this is what I want to show. This is what I hold dear. And
here's the crazy thing as we're having this conversation. In the past week that we have been leading up to this episode, what has happened in your life in this last week?
I'm not saying all of them, but
just
some.
I am looking for an apartment actively with a member of our podcast.
And you can guess which one.
Nah, me and Nick are looking for a place, bro.
Murphy over here.
Caesar McMurphy.
We are looking for a clinic of our own, and it's been really cool. It's also been frustrating, probably more for Nick, but
it's just the beginning of the process. But what's going on in my life right now is it's hard for me to handle the uncertainty, which we're going to have to talk
Talk about.
after the podcast.
Okay.
Because I haven't told you, and I need to tell you guys anyway.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So, yeah, but that's something Nick and I are doing together now. And so that's been really, really cool. But that means I have to clean up and move a lot of other stuff in my life so that the move from my family is respectful. It's to make sure that they're good when I leave. Like it's bringing me off my butt. So there's that.
You're not voluntary anymore.
Yeah.
There's
That's so crazy.
There's a potential job opportunity in addition to the one I have that's made me dig my diploma out of my room.
That's hilarious.
and touch my resume for the first time in like 4.5 years and go back to my LinkedIn and move. There's a lot
You're
of
literally
stuff.
going on your journey right now.
You're setting everything up for something.
Yeah.
Oh no, like a big move is happening in that and a lot of other things. And I think a lot of my movies have just a waking up out of the autopilot, picking up and going out. And I think at the end, I thought I was doing that the whole time, maybe in little micro steps or just instances. But this is, I think, a big thing. And as I'm, turning 30, like this year, it's interesting how that was a common, like that's when things started. I think that's when Jesus started his ministry. Right?
Yeah. And here's the wild thing, bro. Like 3 years ago, actually a little over 3 years ago, right before I turned 30, I did the same thing as you. Like I had to, seriously, that's when I started thinking about when I was going to leave work and I was going to start the business. I had to go through and get all these things in order. So it's like, there's something as you're heading into this season, right, of 30. And it's cool that it's symbolic of that. And now I'm coming out of that, right? Like now I'll share for me, I feel like I'm coming out of that and I'm moving towards something else. But it's how amazing is that, right?
Yeah.
So kind of the thing that I want to end on here is I asked you guys to think about, in reflecting on each of our picks and whatnot, if everyone could go around the table and share what is like your personal like favorite film that Jason picked and your favorite episode, like your favorite conversation.
Oh, I thought I was going to have to do that for all of you guys on this one.
Oh, you will for our episodes, but
can
we
I
have
see
to
the
do
list
that
again?
for us.
Okay.
So I have the list right here.
I'm a visual.
I can take it easy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to kick back because
Heck
now we're
yeah,
gonna
dude,
talk. I'll start while they're looking
It
though.
feels good.
My favorite movie out of all the ones you picked is Howl's Moving Castle.
Let's go.
I
like that more now that you said
actually
that.
have to thank you for that, for picking that, because Tori and I, when we went and rewatched it for the podcast, it's became a really special film for us as a couple. So it actually has taken it's a really cool film that we really see a lot more in now than we even did before. So that was really cool that you kind of gave that to us. My favorite podcast episode, though, is undoubtedly One Flew.
Yeah.
Because I saw you coming out.
Yeah.
I saw the change happen. Like everything you described like 10, 15 minutes ago, witnessing that unfold, I will never forget that. And that might have been the only time in the history of this podcast that you ever said, or anyone has ever said something that got me to stand out of my chair and walk away and have to take that in.
Yeah.
When you dropped that nugget about the title of the movie.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Cooper Bird.
Yes, and I did not know any of that.
Yeah.
And that unlocks so much, not just about the movie, but about you. I'm like, wow, I learned,
Yeah.
So you as a teacher, I feel like it really came through on that movie. And so that's my favorite episode that we've done. So Nick, Joe, and which one of you guys want to go next?
I would say Megamind is my favorite movie, just because I liked Megamind beforehand. Anyway, Megamind is such a dope movie.
It is, dude.
It is.
Oh, man.
And it's so funny. I like there's not a lot of good really funny animated movies like that, like through and through. But yeah. But I gotta agree with Derek. The Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest episode.
What did you say?
Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
One
The
flew.
flu cuckoo.
Yeah.
Flu cuckoo.
Cuckoo, Cthulhu.
Bird flu.
Yeah. Bird flu. But that movie, that conversation.
You kind of like it. The bird flu.
Yeah, that one.
Joe's already on.
I would say,
Oh,
man, Antoine is just an older me.
Joe's on the porch. Was it Henry? Mr. Henry?
Yeah, with Mr. Henry.
Mr. Henry on the porch. Hey, man, the bird flu.
Honestly, that's what I'm trying. That's my aspiration.
Yeah.
The inspirational character. That's how I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
But no, that conversation, just because, again, what Derek said, I saw it as well. Like, because we had the conversations beforehand. And you're like, I don't know if I really should keep being on this podcast. I don't know what are we saying with our message with the podcast.
Well, you said you had that conversation.
We had the conversation
yeah.
beforehand. But but then when you were speaking on that movie, I think I saw something click in you that you're like, oh no, this is actually very important for us to start sharing and discussing, and I have a voice in this. And I was like, that he's in, he's locked in. I think he's locked in after
that was it.
Yeah, since
Things clicked.
What about you, Nick?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, favorite episode. You just came alive.
Yeah.
You came alive. It was, you fully entered in, and we drove up and we had a conversation with you. We were by your side and you did it. And basically represents the whole podcast.
Yeah.
You just did it. So that was cool for me. By far, one of the most impactful episodes and movies, and the biggest turn I've ever had on a movie personally is American Psycho. I cannot believe, like, I didn't want to watch the movie. I was like, I don't want to go through this.
Yeah.
And how you brought empathy and compassion to Patrick Bateman. And I was able to reframe my life in such a way because I have so much experience with like what he is feeling in the film, not what he's done in the film, but the sense of not having anywhere to turn and not being able to experience connection with somebody because it's so shut off. And the idea of confession and community and how funny that movie is, that is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It really is. For me personally, that is one of the funniest scripts I've ever read and watched in a film. It is that funny to me. So that is my favorite movie that you picked. So,
wow.
And thank you, because those have all impacted me and us.
Yeah. I'm like a little teary, but
You should cry.
I'm very grateful for you guys sharing that.
Yeah. We love you.
Don't tell me what to do, Joe.
You're right.
Okay, so for Jason's movies, if there's one movie that you wish you owned, like on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, whatever, one movie that you don't currently own that's on Jason's list that you wish you owned, what would that be? So I'll start for me.
Yeah, go ahead. You
That sweet 4K Criterion Wall-E that I see right there.
That you got for me.
That's probably the movie out of your set that I would most want to own because my kids love Wall-E, and that would be their first Criterion.
Yeah,
and that would be cool. So,
man, this one is really, really good too. All the
I think it's one of their
sketches,
the packaging and all that. I think it's definitely one of the best ones.
Oh yeah, and Nick just slams it on the table.
Yeah, Joe and Nick, how about you guys? Which
real good
of his movies would you most want to own?
I mean, honestly, between They Live and Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh,
yeah. I like
so many movies. There's like 3 or 4 I want to own.
Yeah, there's. I wouldn't do American Psycho. I don't need that in the house. Megamind. I think I own Megamind anyways. What are the other ones?
You'd better. Actually, I don't know. I need to get it.
Yeah, maybe not Tombstone. But yeah, no, I think those two.
Hey, bro, I got some good picks. I didn't even watch any of them.
I know, right? You just knew?
I just knew to go west.
Yep. Oh man, we're just going west.
What about you, Nick?
West.
I think I would do They Live on VHS 4th.
Oh,
yeah.
Iron Giant on VHS 3rd.
Whoa, really?
Whoa.
I didn't expect that.
That's right over there.
American Psycho 2nd, but I don't want that in my house either. I was debating it. I almost bought it. I really love it, but I don't want that in my house.
You need to get a storage unit. Just it's completely empty. It has American Psycho.
I'll keep it at Derek's house.
It has American Psycho just in the middle of the storage unit,
and that you're willing to just burn down one day if need be.
And then one I think is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for me. I think I'm gonna end up buying that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I really love that movie.
I love categorizing it like that. Okay. Now my choices are a whole different. Like,
go ahead,
VHS,
go ahead.
I would do Iron Giant and They Live on VHS because I like.
Man, this Iron Giant VHS is hot.
Not the showcase VHS.
They probably only make
slip cover.
No, they don't. They make a slipcase.
They do?
And it's cool. Yeah,
That's the one
I want to see
Nick
that
has been giving me, and I'm like, oh, these are.
I almost
these are
bought
sexy.
it. I almost bought it.
I want to see that.
I might buy it.
And then
I'm gonna buy it.
I would do, and then I would do.
I'm gonna
Snatch
see
in like 4K or
We're gonna
something
have-
like that.
Nick, we're gonna have 2 Iron Giant
Giant.
VHSs in the house
That's okay.
with no VHS.
That's
normal.
perfect.
Wait, no, you do have a VHS player.
It's Jake's, but
I was say get rid of it.
yeah.
Jake,
It's not the point.
Jake will never know.
It's not the point to play it.
All right, Jason, last question for you. I know you hate ranking things.
Wait, that question wasn't. Yeah, I didn't even answer that question.
Which one of your
Do I
movies
answer
would you
that?
like to own?
No.
You own the
When
movies,
No, I don't have all the movies.
but you own the movies that
I
you
don't
thought
own
were
What
all
do
the
you not
movies.
own that you wish you owned?
Let me find it out. Tombstone, or They Live, or American Psycho.
Wow.
Oh, you're gonna keep American Psycho in the house?
I might. I don't know.
Everybody's
That's
putting their
crazy.
copies in Jason's house.
His house will be my house soon, so that's a possibility.
Oh.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't know. What if my future wife lets American Psycho in the house?
That's fair.
Or if she's
Super
like,
fair.
okay, but it can stay in the porch. You know?
Super
Yeah,
fair.
super fair.
All right, Jason, last question for you.
Word.
I know you don't like ranking things,
Nope.
but I want you to think about this.
Rank them.
No, I'm not going to ask you to rank your movies, but I am going to ask you this. Before you started this podcast, 3.5 years ago, what would you have said are your favorite movies of all time? And now that you're at the end of it, what would be your Letterboxd top 4 favorite movies?
So I probably wouldn't even have cared enough to rank my top 10, top 4, top 1 movies. I really liked Napoleon Dynamite, and I couldn't even tell you everything that happened in the movie. So that to explain it,
Mhm.
I probably would have said something like Kung Fu Panda 2, Pirates of the Caribbean 2, maybe. Yeah, I really can't. In this moment, can't think of what I would have said.
Mhm.
It wouldn't have mattered. I would have been,
Mm.
let me think about it. Are these movies good? I don't know.
That's interesting. It wouldn't have mattered.
It would not have mattered. It
And
doesn't-
now what would you put your top 4 as?
Oh man, Wally first. Actually, Wally might have been up there earlier, just dormant
Mhm.
in my cerebral cortex.
Cerebral cortex. Max.
So you got Wally. So would Wally be the top slot? Maybe possibly?
Before.
Oh, okay.
So the top 4 after, there's a little bit of debate.
Mhm.
So it would be Wally, like hands down.
Mhm.
No Country for Old Men. Maybe American Psycho. Or, so like the last 2, there's debate between 3. American
Okay.
Psycho, Once Upon a Time in the West,
Ooh, wow.
and Ratatouille. But
All right.
these 4 to 5 like really sum up just the things I see, me, how I feel. Oh, you brought it. Dick, I don't think you realize how much I love and
And you-
yearn for this movie.
And you
'cause-
don't own this movie,
'cause
so
this is,
good to know.
Yes, that's coming for your episode. That's my
Mhm.
answer.
Cool.
Oh, it's so good. It's the train station
Thank you, Nick.
scene. But yeah, that'd be my current top 4. Megamind is like the shadow 5th.
Mm.
Okay.
But it doesn't make it over the 4. These 4 rounded out for me.
Cool.
It's the full spectrum.
Final thoughts,
Final
Jason?
thoughts? Guys, thank you for allowing me to be here because I didn't know jack about movies. But no, thank you guys so much for walking with me and really
Mm.
being such a strong brotherhood and helping me kind of really figure out more of myself and who God has created me to be. And yeah, just showing me the importance of this. And yeah, I don't know much more to say. I'm glad I've done this. I'm glad I've done this with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And can't wait to see how this friendship evolves afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, this has been good. This has been really good.
I'm glad you stuck with it.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I truly believe God is just behind everything, in all the choices, in all the conversations. I mean, it's like people are going to go back and listen to these episodes and psychoanalyze the hell out of us for many years to come.
Mhm.
Because
Oh, yeah.
it's
really-
all come out.
These guys really need therapy.
This is their therapy.
Right.
So, but it is
it's just been an
incredible.
open window therapy session that we
Yeah.
held in front of all the viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Kind
showing
of.
how stories, we start with the story, right? We start with something that connects us, brings us together, and then look what it does, right? Is it reveals things, it moves us towards things that are higher
Mhm.
in the stories of our own lives. So,
these have really helped me visualize my walk with Christ.
Yeah.
yeah.
And just understand the different parts of myself, from the heights, from Wally to the depths of Patrick Bateman,
Yeah.
and just connect all of those.
Yeah.
And they try to ban movies in 5/16.
No. I'm glad. I'm glad that all was taken away from me for a year. I needed that cleansing of mind.
Should make a course.
No, because here's the thing: if I had not had that, just absence from everything and just kind of gone out of the world, I wouldn't have had those fresh new eyes to see everything from.
Yeah.
I would have seen American Psycho as, dude, Patrick Bateman, that's the man, right? Because that's how he's seen. So
yeah,
I am thankful for that, and I'll stand by that.
Well, you can stand by that.
You guys should take
Nick
it.
and I bonded from disobeying that.
There are other ways to bond.
I watched Last Jedi in 5/16, so I don't care.
Watch the whole Star Wars saga.
Imagine this podcast if Nick had never watched.
No, we'll get there.
We wouldn't have it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
That's how it started.
When we get to Nick's
The
episode,
Last Jedi started us all.
yeah, we're gonna
From
talk about that.
disobedience.
The Last Jedi is so key with Nick's stuff. You guys don't even know yet. You don't even know. Nick texted me the other day, and I'm sitting there like, "Yep."
Yo, you knew already?
I had a feeling, and then you texted. I'm like, that confirms it.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
I just thought it.
I
was
know
like-
where this is
I
going
was
with
like,
Nick.
oh my God. It's in The Last Jedi too.
Yeah, Nick's The Last Jedi is like a thesis for Nick on the pod. It's like
Really?
a thesis statement
So-
before we even start.
I feel like
So it's
The
so
Last
unbelievable.
Jedi is the Jenga block you pull out, and immediately the whole
Everything
tower
would
falls.
fall. Yep. Anyways, guys, join us next week for Joe's final pick.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
That'd
And
be great.
until then,
I, Superman.
thank you for listening to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, produced by All Things Narrative. If you'd like to learn more about our coaching, workshops, events, please check out allthingsnarrative.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at All Things Narrative. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and tune in next time as we continue exploring the stories we love and the stories we live. Take care.